All right, we are starting with 2.1. The whole front part of 2.1 is basically just talking about how you can represent addition using the black and red chips and then also the number lines here. I don't really feel like I need to go over this because it's pretty straightforward. It's just like if you start at 10 and it increases 25, you end up at 35, or you start at 10 and it decreases by 15, you'd end up at -5. So I feel like you guys are pretty much on par with that. So we're going to start with problem A. The instructions say to use chipboards or number line models to solve these problems. That's basically the black and red chips or number line. I'm going to be using number lines because I'm way too lazy to draw a whole bunch of black and red circles. But if you would prefer to do that, then you are more than welcome to do that. So A1 says find the sums in each group. So group 1 has 4 different questions. It has +2 plus +8, -2 plus -8, +8 plus +12, and -8 plus -12. So you're basically just going to go down the list here and give the answers for each one. So this first one is going to be 10. The second one is -10. If you need to use a number line here, you can. I think most of you are pretty solid on this. So again, if you want to use a number line, you just do this. And 0 would be over here, -2 would be here, and then you would have to figure out which direction you're going to go. So you're losing 8. So you're going to be going backwards 8 bunny hops, which is going to make you end up at -10. This one is +20. I keep forgetting that part. And then, so this one, because it's exactly the same situation as up here, I know is going to be -20. The other one, I'm just going to put it kind of to the side over here, is +2 plus now -8. So you have to pay attention to the difference there. -2 plus +8, +8 plus -12, and -8 plus +12. 2 plus -8, -8 is bigger, which means that it is going to be a negative answer. And then the difference there would be 6. 8 is bigger here, which means it's going to be +6. 12 is bigger, which means it's going to be negative, and then the difference, which would be 4. And then 12 is bigger here, which is positive, which means that it's going to be +4. Again, that was pretty fast, but you always have the ability to pause. And then, or if you are following along really well, then you should feel pretty happy with yourself. Number 2, what do the examples in each group have in common? So I'd say in group 1, each is either positive or negative when combining. And then, oh, that would be helpful, huh? Group 1. Group 2, each has 1 positive and 1 negative. number. Number 3, write 2 new problems that belong to each group. So for group 1, I could say, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. It says 2 new problems that belong to each group. So we would do +1 plus +5, let's say, which would be 6. And then +1, no, both negative. -1 plus -5, which would be -6. And then group 2 would be +1 plus -5 and -1 plus +5. So this one is bigger, so it's going to be a negative number, so it's going to be -4. And then here, this one's bigger, so this is going to be +4. Number 4, describe an algorithm for adding the integers in each group. So that's basically, an algorithm is basically a rule. So you could say, how would you say that? This is kind of like how you understand how to do this, like what rules you have in your head. So like when I say, like this one's bigger, so it's going to be a positive, something like that. So when you have a positive and negative number, you look at the bigger number, and that is where you start. And indicates if the answer is going to be bigger. Bigger than or less than. That would have been greater than. That would have been a better word. But hindsight. So again, this one is kind of however you understand how to do these based on what they are and how they are similar and different, things like that. It's kind of like this would be your rule for how to do that. So this is kind of how I think about it. Part B, you know that -5 plus -3 equals -8. Use this information to help you solve the following related problems. So this is jumping into mixed numbers, which you may or may not be comfortable with. So for number 1, it's -5. It's a mixed number. 5 1/4 and -3. So you have to pay attention here to your whole numbers and then kind of tack on your mixed number at the end, because this one doesn't have a mixed number. So -5 plus -3 would be -8 right here. See that? And then we're just going to tack on the 1/4 right there. Number 2 is negative 5 1/5 plus negative 3 3/5. This is fortunate because these two have the same denominator, which makes them very easy to combine. So we already know that negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8. And then if I have 1 of 5 pieces and 3 of 5 pieces here, altogether I have 4 of 5 pieces. And then number 3 is negative 5 1/3 plus negative 3 2/3. Again, it's the same thing here. I know the negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8, and then 1 of 3 parts plus 2 of 3 parts would be 3 of 3 parts, but that equals 1 whole. So the answer is actually going to be negative 8, and then a negative, because this is also negative, right? So negative 1 whole, which would be negative 9 altogether. And we will do part C together tomorrow.